Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. You know we have to talk about Taylor Swift today because honestly, who isn't talking about her right now? Every time she makes a move, the entire internet literally stops. And this week was no different because she just announced her brand new album. But along with all the excitement, there is also a ton of speculation, and a lot of it has to do with her friendship with Blake Lively. Yep, people are wondering if Taylor might have just shaded Blake on this next album. And if you know anything about Taylor, it's that her songs are like little puzzles, filled with Easter eggs, hidden messages, and sometimes subtle or not so subtle jabs. So when fans saw certain track titles on the new album, immediately everyone was like, wait, is this about Blake? So let's get into all the theories, what's really going on between Taylor and Blake, and why this drama has basically turned into a legal soap opera that Taylor got dragged into even though she wanted nothing to do with it. First of all, Taylor being on the New Heights podcast was already a huge deal. If you're a Swiftie, you know Taylor does not do interviews. She's been super private for years, letting her music do most of the talking. But because the podcast is hosted by Travis Kelce, her boyfriend, she finally gave fans this rare glimpse into her life. And let me tell you, people were tuned in. The episode racked up 5.6 million views in just 5 hours. It literally broke the internet. And the podcast's own Twitter account had to tweet, "We hit a glitch, but we'll be back shortly. Shout out to all the Swifties for helping us break the internet." On this podcast, Taylor dropped the bombshell. Her 12th studio album is called The Life of a Showgirl. She even revealed the cover art and full track list. And that's where the theories begin. So one song in particular instantly caught fans' attention. Track number 6, titled Ruin the Friendship. The Swiftie Detective Army did not waste a second. Immediately, people started connecting the dots, wondering if this was about her rumored friendship fallout with Blake Lively. Another track, number 10, is called Cancelled. And of course, with all the drama surrounding Blake right now, fans were like, Taylor is definitely shading her. Now, if you're newer to Swiftie lore, Taylor and Blake were super close. Blake even directed the music video for I Bet You Think About Me. Blake and Ryan Reynolds' daughter was featured in Taylor's song Gorgeous. Her little voice literally opens the track. These two families have been intertwined for years, so the idea of a falling out between them, it's huge. Now, on the podcast, Taylor talked a lot about what inspired this album. She said that it's not about what happened to her on stage during the Eras tour, but what she was going through off stage. She said, "I wanted the album to feel the way my life felt. This album isn't about the lights, the stage, or the spectacle. It's about what was going on behind the curtain. Every single song has a purpose. You couldn't take one out or add one in. It's just right." And because the Eras tour ended in December of last year, that's when she wrapped up this era of her life and finished writing the songs, which raises an interesting point. The drama with Blake really exploded in early 2025. By then, Taylor's album was basically done. So fans are debating, could a song about Blake really be on this album if the alleged fallout hadn't fully happened yet? Some people say no. The math doesn't add up, but others argue that maybe Taylor saw the writing on the wall, maybe cracks in the friendship were already showing months earlier, and Ruin the Friendship is actually about those early tensions. And then there's track 10, Cancelled. The timing is suspicious. Even if Taylor wrote it about a totally different situation, you know fans are gonna connect it to Blake's controversies. So let's rewind a bit. How did Blake go from America's sweetheart to suddenly being at the center of a messy Hollywood scandal? It started last summer when Blake was promoting the movie It Ends With Us. She faced backlash for how she was handling the press tour, and people accused her of being dismissive about certain topics. Things kind of simmered through the fall, until December. That's when everything blew up. The New York Times published a bombshell article revealing that Blake had filed a complaint against her co-star and director, Justin Baldoni. She accused him of harassment and creating a toxic environment on set. She claimed there were boundary issues and inappropriate behavior. Pretty heavy stuff. Justin, of course, didn't just sit back. He fired back with a $400 million defamation countersuit against Blake, Ryan Reynolds, and even their publicist. He accused them of trying to destroy his reputation. This legal war has been explosive, and then somehow Taylor Swift got dragged right into it. Justin's legal team actually subpoenaed Taylor. Why? Because they allege that Blake used her close friendship with Taylor and Ryan as leverage to pressure Justin into making script rewrites. In their filing, they cited a text where Blake referred to Taylor and Ryan as her dragons who protect her in conflicts. The implication was that Blake was basically saying, I have Taylor and Ryan in my corner and you don't want to mess with me. Taylor's team immediately shut this down. They clarified that her only involvement with the movie was licensing her song My Tears Ricochet, just like 19 other artists who had songs in the soundtrack. She wasn't involved in casting, script changes, or production, and she didn't even see the film until weeks after it was released. So Taylor's team made it clear this was a desperate attempt to drag her name into a mess she had nothing to do with. But then it got even messier. Justin's lawyer claimed that Blake had threatened to leak 10 years of private text between her and Taylor unless Taylor publicly supported her during this controversy. Yes, you heard that right. According to court documents, an anonymous source close to Taylor said that Blake's lawyer reached out requesting that Taylor post something in support of Blake. If she refused, Blake would supposedly release years of private messages. It was even alleged that Blake had asked Taylor months earlier to delete their texts, which, if true, only fueled suspicion that Blake was worried about something coming out. And here's the wildest part. It was reportedly Taylor's own dad, Scott Swift, who gave this information to Justin Baldoni's team. Sources say he didn't want his daughter dragged into this any further and made a deal so Justin's team would drop the subpoena against Taylor. Basically, he was like, here's what I know, just leave my daughter out of this mess. In the end, the judge ruled that all of these allegations about Taylor were inadmissible in court. He said they were improper, and Taylor's subpoena was dropped. But by that point, the damage was done. The public had already seen all these messy accusations, and suddenly everyone was wondering if Taylor and Blake's friendship could possibly survive something like this. From the outside looking in, it really does seem like the two have distanced themselves. They haven't been spotted together in ages. There are no more Instagram comments, no inside jokes online. It's like a cold silence between them. So when fans saw the track list for The Life of a Showgirl and spotted titles like Ruined the Friendship and Cancelled, their minds went straight to Blake. Of course, Taylor hasn't confirmed anything. She probably never will. That's just how she works. She plants Easter eggs, she tells her story through lyrics, and then she lets us do all the decoding. But Swifties did catch something on the podcast that felt a little shady. While talking about negativity and being dragged into drama, Taylor said, "I can be in a headline and have nothing to do with the story. My name can be right there in the title, and it still has nothing to do with me. People might be out here doing too much. Doesn't mean I have to do a damn thing." Fans immediately thought, oh, this is about Blake. Because remember, during the Baldoni drama, Taylor's name was plastered everywhere in headlines, even though she had absolutely nothing to do with it. So maybe that was her subtle way of addressing the situation without naming names. So, to sum all this up, Taylor has a new album, The Life of a Showgirl. The tracklist has fans convinced she's shading Blake Lively. Blake's controversies with It Ends With Us spiraled into a massive legal battle. Taylor got dragged in against her will. Allegations surfaced about threats to leak private texts. Taylor's dad allegedly stepped in to protect her. The judge threw out those allegations, but the damage to the friendship might be irreversible. And now fans are waiting to see if Taylor really did put their falling out into a song. Honestly, we might never know for sure. Maybe Ruin the Friendship is about Blake. Maybe it's about someone else entirely, like Carly Kloss. Or maybe it's just a general song about friendships gone wrong. That's the beauty of Taylor's songwriting. She gives us just enough to speculate, and we run wild with theories. But one thing is clear, the Swiftie Detective Agency is working overtime, and this album rollout is already messier than anyone expected. What do you guys think? Do you believe Taylor shaded Blake? Or is this all just coincidence? Let me know in the comments.